Hi everyone, my name is Chantel and welcome back to another video. Today it's time for another thrift store makeover. I found this little owl a while back and thought he was perfect for a makeover. He doesn't necessarily need one, but he is missing an ear. So let's create something magical. To start off, I cut out some cardboard pieces and glued them together to make them look like books, making the outside pieces just slightly bigger than the inside ones. Then I'm covering the cardboard pieces in tin foil. Because I'm working with air dry clay, I don't want the cardboard to soak up all the moisture from the clay. So by putting a layer of material over it that doesn't absorb the moisture from the clay, this will prevent the cardboard to go soggy and makes your project work a lot better. And then I'm just gluing the two books together so they're making a stack. I don't know if you remember the bunny makeover from last month, but this is the same clay I'm using. To prevent it from drying out, I wrapped a piece of paper towel around the clay pack, put that inside a plastic bag, then I sprayed water inside the bag over the paper towel and closed it and put that inside another plastic bag. And it's absolutely fine. It's still workable, as you can see, and working absolutely beautifully. So here you can see me covering up the tin foil with air dry clay. I am using one of my polymer clay tools to smooth out most of this project. The silicone end of this tool works perfectly for smoothing out air dry clay. Just dip it in water and then smooth out your project. And then for the pages of the books, I go over with a pointer tool, which gives the perfect texture for it to look like pages. And then with the ball stylus, I make indents on the side of the books. Now I wanted to add a jar of ink, or it looking like a jar of ink. So I have this little glass bottle that looks like an ink bottle. And I mix PVA glue, water and black acrylic paint together. And then I swirl that around the bottle. And because I added PVA glue, it will stick to the inside of the bottle and it will not really run down, only slightly, so it makes it a little bit less opaque. But it did the job for me and it looks like a little ink bottle. And because the owl was missing an ear, this is where I'm creating one. Now this makeover is by no means a big makeover like I normally do. I kept it simple this time, but I am really happy with how it turned out. So what I'm doing here is I'm making the owl white. I'm using 2 coats of white acrylic paint, and I don't want it to look like Hedwig, because Hedwig is a different sort of owl. I have no owl knowledge, but I know Hedwig doesn't have the pointy ears on top of her head. But I wanted a white owl, and therefore I'm painting the owl white. Going back to the books that have now dried, they have cracks a little bit. So I'm fixing that by adding some more air dry clay, and I had to open a new pack for this. The main thing that I'm fixing is the sides of the book where the pages are. So basically I'm leaving the crack at the top because it can look like weathered leather and worn leather, and I thought it added to the piece. So I'm just fixing the pages on the side here and then going back over with the pointer tool and the base of the project, because I don't want it to fall apart when I move it. So I do fix the base here. Now the owl is all beautiful and white. I have to fix his toes because his feet were orange and his nails needed a little bit of a manicure. So I'm just cleaning that up with black acrylic paint. And then of course I had to paint the beak black as well. Moving on to the eyes, I wanted this owl to have bright yellow eyes. So that's what I'm painting here. I started with a darker layer of yellow and then went over with a brighter layer of yellow. I don't know why I did that, but I did. And then eventually I will paint a black line around his eyes as well. To put in the pupils and the shiny bit of his eyes, I used a dotting tool. Now, of course, I wanted to give a little bit more dimension to his feather coat. So I am adding a dark gray to the indents underneath every feather. Yes, I went around this whole thing and it took forever, but I absolutely love how this turned out. Then, as I mentioned before, I went around his eyes with black acrylic paint just to make his eyes pop and give that extra line that most owls have around their eyes. Then I got to the point where I had to glue the owl on top of the books and started painting the books. I started with a purple, as you can see here, and I absolutely love this color. My favorite color is green, and then closely followed by purple. If you're talking about real colors, I absolutely love black. And then this must be one of my favorite greens. I absolutely adore a mossy green. And then for the book pages, I used, I think it was an ochre and then a dark brown. Yeah, must have been something like that, to age up the pages and give it a little bit more dimension. Then, to imply a sort of gilded look to the pages, I am adding some gold acrylic paint just with my fingers to give it that ever so slightly golden shimmer. And then for a little bit extra mixed media to put into this piece, I added some bookmarks made out of actual ribbon, and I apply this with this glue. I get a lot of questions about what clear glue I use, and I thought it was closest to Uhu all-purpose glue, but I found another one. Fabri-Tac is another glue that is very close to the glue I use. Here I'm adding a wash of black acrylic paint just to bring out those details. As you probably have noticed, this bird is sitting on a rock, and I just left the rock there, mainly because you never know what you might find in a wizarding room or on a wizarding table, so there's that. I added a black feather to imply a quill to the jar and also put one next to it and glued them down. Then with a gold marker, I write down potions on one book and herbology on the other one. And this finishes the project. So let's see what I created. And this is it for the owl makeover. Let me know what you think of this mini makeover in the comments down below. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out. Make sure to check out my socials and consider supporting me on Patreon. And if you're new here, welcome. Please don't forget you can click the subscribe button to become part of the Raven family. Thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.